Hey everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online School. We're here with another quick tip for YouTube. And today we're going to be talking about the top arm and the bottom arm. As we're paddling, it's really tricky to know, are we supposed to be using our top arm more or our bottom arm more? Am I pushing with this top arm? Am I pushing down? What am I pulling? Am I bending at the elbow, turning my shoulders? What do we do with our arms? Our arms move around very freely and easily, and they can overtake and overpower the stroke in a sense. We want to keep our arms back. That way we can use our shoulders and our hips more. So we're trying to minimize how much we are using our hands and elbows. Forces that we create on our hands, though, are very important for utilizing the blade in the water. So first, let's break down what do these two arms do with the paddle. Looking at the top arm first, the top arm acts as a stabilizer for the paddle shaft and the blade as it interacts with the water. An easy way that we can demonstrate that the top arm is solely a stabilizer is by trying to take paddle strokes with only the top arm. Using this top arm and putting the blade into the water, there is not any forward propulsion that it can create by itself. The role of the bottom arm is to create the torque and leverage to move the boat forward. Using the bottom arm by itself, when we put the blade in the water, we can turn, pull, and we can move the boat a little bit. The more pressure that we find with this bottom arm, the more the blade is going to flutter through the water. So this is where that relationship of both arms come into play during the paddle stroke. As the top arm is stabilizing the shaft and the blade, the bottom arm has the platform to pull and allow that transfer of energy from the larger muscles to the water. Both hands are working together, both stabilizing, finding that pulling mechanic within the movement. As the blade is traveling towards us, we're able to get our body weight on the top of the paddle and find some downward pressure to help with that stabilization. Same idea is true with the wing blade or the kayak paddle. Using the top arm to put the blade in the water, we cannot move the boat forward with this, right? The top arm acts solely as a stabilizer. Using the bottom hand, putting the wing into the water and turning and pulling, we can move the boat forward. Again, we will find that flutter with the more force that we find with the bottom hand. So this defines a relationship. The more force you're finding with this bottom hand completing that paddle stroke, the more stabilization is necessary to allow that paddle to make that connection with the water. Any beginning coaching cues will have you really thinking about that top arm pressure to stabilize. Ultimately, you don't want your limiting factor to be your stabilizing mechanic. So the relationship would feel something like 60% top arm and 40% bottom arm. In the long run, as you become more skilled with the paddle stroke, this relationship will ultimately become 50-50. Only need to push with the top arm as much as the bottom arm is able to create force in pulling. The forces we're creating with pulling is not at the elbow and the hand and doing a one-handed row, but allowing the leg drive to move the hip, to move the shoulder, to move all the way to the hand. So the pulling mechanic that we're getting is coming from the entirety of the body. Beginners will just pull with this bottom arm here, and there doesn't need to be a lot of stabilization at the top because they're not creating a lot of force using these small muscles here. Using the entire body and pulling in a concise, powerful movement requires a tremendous amount of top hand pressure to stabilize that blade. Blade flutter is a great indication that you do not have enough top hand pressure to match the force you're making with your bottom hand. So to get the hang of it, think about a lot of top hand pressure to overstabilize that paddle. Over a period of time, you want to try and match those two directional forces together. You want the force that you're producing with the bottom hand and the top hand to match. This creates a very efficient and fluid paddle stroke. Great, that's our quick tip. If you want some more information, we have full-length videos on the K2N Online Paddle School. We have over 200 videos available that are on topics like this, breaking down the top hand, the bottom hand into much more detail. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram for other media that we're uploading every day. And if you have other questions, you can message us right here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much and happy battling. See you out there on the water.